Ta-da! This is the first book of Rebecca Ross that I have read, and I have to say that I completely loved Divine Rivals. And yeah, I don't know why I thought that maybe it will be like too much romancy for me, but I do love it. I mean, like how many posits? There's lots of things going on in this book that are so remarkable that I was reading and it felt like it was speaking to me directly. And it was funny because when I ended it in the acknowledgements, the author says something about sometimes the right book finding you in the right moment that you need to read this book. So yeah, this is how it worked with me with this one. At the very beginning, we're going to find these two people here, these two guys, Iris Winnow and Roman Kitt. And they're kind of like at each other's throats because they want the same position in a newspaper, and they are competing, with each other, against each other to get that position. And Roman comes from a family that's a very well settled, rich family. Well, Iris comes from a family that's not so well settled. She's kind of poor. And there's a lot of tragedy in her family. The very beginning of the book, we find her saying goodbye to her brother, Forrest. He is going to go to war. And I love, from the very beginning of the book, how the author managed to make you feel what Iris is feeling. This duality between wanting to make her brother stay with her and at the same time being proud that he is so brave to go to war for the things that he believes in, but also feeling like she is being left behind and wanting to say, please stay, but also, being strong for him and saying, hey, you go and do your thing, kind of. And I love that. And I love that all the actions in the book have consequences. For instance, and we are going to learn it in the very beginning too, the fact that Forrest left for war kind of destroy the equilibrium that Iris had at home. And her mom turned into an alcoholic. So Iris is struggling to make ends met. She has to leave the school. As I say, she's working in this newspaper where she's fighting Roman to get the place, the promotion she wants. And I love how different they are from each other. One of them looks like he has everything. I'm not going to say much more about Roman because we are going to be discovering things about him as we keep on reading. And I did love that because at the beginning you can think that he's an entitled brat, that he has everything, that he has good looks, that he has money, that he has position, that he has power. But as we keep on reading the book, we're going to discover whether or not this is true and what kind of guy he is. And I did love Roman so much. And everything that he goes through felt so authentic too. And also, yeah, Iris, what Iris is struggling with from the very beginning, but it's very powerful. And I love, there's so many things to love in this book because you have this narration in which you have everything that I explained to you. But then they began corresponding without Iris knowing that the other one is Roman. And we are going to be finding this kind of correspondence writing in this different lettering, as you can see. The regular one and when they are corresponding. And I love that we have these letters because you can see how they really feel when they write them. And there's lots and lots of things to love about this one. I love that we have this real depiction of family. We are used to have this perfect picture families in books and in TV and everything. And I do love that Iris has this family who is broken somehow. The mother tries to do better, but she's missing her son. She has fallen into alcoholism and she wants to fix herself. And Iris is the one, paying the consequences of the brother leaving and the mom drinking and everything. And I love that we have this kind of dysfunctional family picture in this book. And I love that we also have Roman's family who is also kind of dysfunctional. And you have to read the book to know why. And I do love to have these families who are far from perfect. Because for me, that's reality, because not every one of us has had perfect families. It doesn't mean that our families are bad, but maybe that we have families who have struggled with different things. And I love to have this kind of representations in books. I also love that sometimes our characters have anxiety and have feelings of inadequacy, and they're wanting to be different or better, or they wonder if they're, if they deserve to be loved, and if they're doing enough, or if they are going to be the change that needs to be, portrayed. And I love that, because I love seeing characters who grow on the page, that are not perfect, that are human, that they stumble, that they make mistakes, they fall in love, they hate, they feel. And this is something that we are going to be finding in this book a lot. And also the representation of war. There were some chapters here that were completely horrible, in the way in which the author managed to portray the cruelty and the alienation of war, when you are like, there was this sentence that you get up when the sun rises, and life is a certain way, and when the sun goes down, everything has changed. And not to take anything for granted, because you don't know if you're going to be here, and you have to live life at its fullest. And I love how, as I say, everything that happens has consequences, and I love how the characters see themselves in situations that are very harsh, and how they see everything, and how it affects them, and their evolution, and how they change and adapt, and they cry. I love that there is a post-traumatic stress syndrome here picture. There's lots of mental health picture in this book. This is something that I really loved. I love the idea of friendship, of having your own people backing you up, having people that you love, not necessarily like in a romantic partner, but friends and new family, and people who are there for you when you need them. And I love, as I say, the roundness of the book when it's talking about war and how it affects different people, how some people are like cheese pieces that someone is moving, behind the curtains and all of this. I think that this is a very powerful read, because it talks about lots of things. It talks about the loss of a brother, not because he's there necessarily, but because he left and you're left behind, trying to make sense of the things, being proud that he's doing something that, that's something that you admire. It's fighting for something he believes in, but also feeling that you are left behind. I love this duality, because I think that humans, we are allowed to feel desperation and joy. We can cry and laugh. We can do more than one feeling at a time. And I think that this duality of feelings here, it's amazing. As I say, I did love the representation of mental health, post-traumatic stress, and the struggles of war veterans, war soldiers, people surrounding a war, how it affects them, and how they react in certain situations. I did love how sound the characters were, how you can believe that they are alive. I mean, the representation in the characters is amazing, how well crafted they are. I mean, I can believe that they are alive, and they telling me this story where they were part of. I also love these dynamic changes where you're reading the story and then you find the letters that they write to each other, and how it all adds to the story. I mean, everything makes sense, everything is connected, and it's amazing. I did love this idea of war being between people, but also because there is these gods behind quarreling this war. And it seems like the story that's been told, it's not the real one. There is this goddess and there is this god, and it seems like the patriarchy has had some hand in telling the story how they want it to be heard. And yeah, there's a mystery of what really happened in this war with the gods. What happened with the goddess, why are we in the place we are today. And I love everything. I mean, yeah, I want to read the second one so badly. And obviously, as I say, this is the first book of hers that I have read, so I'm very interested and very keen on reading all her other books, because I love this one. I love the passing, I love the story, I love how she talks about feelings. And I was forgetting, I love how there's this moment in which a parent dies, and I did love how she talks about grief and how it makes it very touching. There is certain deaths that the characters have to face, and how those different deaths affect them, how they can feel guilt, how they can feel, sadness, how they can feel themselves like they are like lost, and they have to make up for things that maybe, it was not their responsibility, or maybe it was, but I loved everything in this book. So yeah, if you want a book that's very different from anything that you have read, the concept of war being quarreled by humans but spurned by gods, kind of, and the story of the gods, the mystery, what is really the legend between these gods, behind these gods, and also the relationship between these two main characters and all the friendships that they are going to encounter. Pick this one up because it's an amazing book. Thank you for watching. Bye!